Humanitarian aid was ceremoniously delivered to occupied Donetsk from the Pskov region, just 2,000 bottles of water. The volume is enough for 1 or 2 entrances for a couple of days. For a region where hundreds of thousands of people suffer from a complete lack of water supply, such support looks like a mockery. The Russians were not shy about putting on a show. Bright vests, pompous music, loud words of volunteers. But as users note, the cost of filming the video could have exceeded the price of the water itself. The reaction in Donetsk publics is explosive. People openly mock the generosity. Others write that they are not being given any water and the humanitarian aid will end up on the shelves of supermarkets controlled by Pushilin, where it will be sold at inflated prices. A whole 2,000? That's a splurge. Who did you give it to anyway? Are we going to buy it in stores? In Makeyevka, the tap has been dry for 2 months, and it looks like only officials will get water. This story clearly shows what Russia has turned Donbass into. First, the occupation destroyed the water supply system, which had been working properly until 2014. Now, instead of restoring the infrastructure, people are shown a pitiful batch of water, which is enough for 1 or 2 entrances. Residents of Donetsk call what is happening an outright insult. Tens of thousands of families are forced to live without water, to carry buckets and canisters, while the Russian administration puts on a show with a couple of thousand bottles, making money off of someone else's misfortune. Recall Donetsk residents began to fight for water in conditions of severe shortages. Russia is unable to manage Donetsk. Neither infrastructure, nor social services, nor basic living conditions have been restored. The de facto authorities have withdrawn and responsibility has been shifted to the residents themselves. The lack of water has become not just a household problem, but a catalyst for deep social degradation. The city, once one of the most developed in Ukraine, with powerful industry and a decent standard of living, is now collapsing morally and physically. A native of Donetsk, Ukrainian blogger Denis Kazansky emphasizes that a complete brutalization of society is taking place, with the indifference of those who arranged all this. At the same time, people are afraid to come out to protest against the occupying Russian administration, and they turn on each other. Russian forces have significantly increased their activity in the Serebryansky forest along the Lyman front. Nothing has changed in the Serebryansky forest for months. The Russians attacked, but to no avail. This forested area of more than 107 hectares stretches from occupied Crimea to the border with Donetsk Oblast. Since the fall of 2022, after the capture of Crimea by Russian troops, the front line has run through the forest, says Premyi media outlet. To avoid heavy losses, Russian forces rely on small unit infiltration through the Serebryansky forest instead of large assaults, says RFU News. The main Russian goal here is to take control of the town of Lyman, as the strategic location will serve as a stepping stone for future operations. RFU News says that Russian forces have advanced on 2 settlements from 3 sides, using small unit infiltration tactics rather than large-scale assaults. Larger attacks have ended in disaster, like a recent 25-strong motorcycle charge near Torsk, which was destroyed by artillery and drones. The result is a series of grinding Russian probing assaults. with Russian troops attempting to sneak across terrain and establish a foothold before being detected. Ukrainian forces have responded with an active defense, flexible positions, mobile counterattacks, and deliberate withdrawals to avoid major casualties. Both sides have key advantages here, as Russian units have managed to establish a stable infiltration corridor through the Serebryansky forest, which allows small detachments to cross into the area around Zarichne with some level of cover. RFU News recalls. However, Ukrainians still control the majority of the forest itself, and that control gives them a critical edge in fire control and drone surveillance over the fields to the northeast. Russians are unable to safely move up artillery or drone operators in support of their advances due to this Ukrainian drone fire control, leaving Russian infiltration efforts without enough firepower to deliver a decisive tactical defeat to Ukrainian defenders. Meanwhile, Ukraine maintains an advantage through its rapid reaction capabilities, allowing it to strike back before Russian units can consolidate. Thermal drones monitor positions, and armored units are held ready for quick strikes once a Russian presence is detected, with Russian drone operators unable to quickly respond and intercept. Based on the size and number of the infiltrated buildings and the standard size of Russian groupings that gather before committing to assaults, between 20 and 30 Russians were likely killed. In one recent incident, a Russian soldier became entangled in a Goza-type razor wire and was eliminated by a drone while immobilized, illustrating how Ukraine pairs static defenses with real-time drone surveillance and immediate strike responses, keeping most Russian infiltrators from ever establishing a foothold. RFU News says that the battle for Liman continues to evolve and Russia's goals are clear. Take the city and turn it into a launch pad for a tri-pronged offensive across northern Donetsk. For now, though, Russia is struggling to even cross the Zerebets River in enough force to make a dent. Ukrainian forces are using active defense tactics, armored counters, and thermal drone coverage to keep the front fluid and prevent Russian forces from consolidating gains.